This mission's important, John. I want you to come with me to help me lead the team. What do you say, John?
I put in my time.
What's that mean?
It means my war's over. He never draw. This time,
Rambo, something went wrong.
it's for his friend.
Troutman was a good man.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film was watching, and the second is a session of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview, which was like so amazing. Not only the credits, but the important stories that made the movies that we love with special effects, makeup artist Jeff Goodwin. The story that I'll never forget is obviously cool stories about Stallone and being one of 5 people to make it from the beginning of the production to the end of the production, which is very rare when you work with Sly, of this week's sequel, Rambo 3. But his story about working with Jim Henson on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the original, and him figuring out a way that he could just put watercolors to show bruising on the turtle suits without having any repainting needed, because that's what Jim didn't want to do. Then also putting an actual scar from Rambo 3 on Raphael's face after he fought Shredder in one of the middle scenes for the end of the movie. He had that scar, which I think is one of the coolest random little tidbits. Yeah, if you haven't listened to Jeff's interview, be sure to check it out after this week's review. Oh man, this is one. I don't even know what to say. I think this is if you're watching, I did at Riverside, which we've been using for a few years now, has a new feature. You can like put different words and you got them pop up on the screen. But Rambo 3 Troutman's Too Old is what I would call this. But before I talk about the fact that I didn't understand most of this movie because they didn't give us subtitles, and the fact that I watched a lot of it at 1.25 speed because some of the slow-mo is just too much slow-mo, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I was thinking this is like right around the same time, because I'll never forget the beginning of COVID is when we started doing video with like Zoom. And one of the early ones that we did was Rambo 3. I mean, not Rambo 3, Rambo, whatever. It was just called Rambo, right?
Rambo.
Yeah.
Yep.
They just get rid of First Blood. They were like First Blood Part 2. They're like, screw that. This one's called Rambo 3. And the next one we just call it Rambo. But yeah, no, I'll never forget that. And that was about 4 years ago. So it's funny we're doing it right around the same time. Now, Do you remember this movie from when you were younger?
So I'm almost mad that I watched it again. Because, I mean, yes, I do remember it totally. However, now that my sequel, eyes of all these sequels we've done in this past few years and the in-depth of like movie watching has changed my views on some movies. And so dissecting this movie, and again, you know what? It could be the worst Rambo out of all of them. It's still entertaining enough because, obviously the action scenes in Stallone. However, it made me look at a character in this movie, and you kind of hinted at it already, as the obvious. Troutman is the worst. First of all, he's the worst person ever.
Yeah.
And he's also, I find it hard to believe that he's the one that trained Rambo. I find that hard to believe because he got caught in 2 minutes. Like he barely landed on soil, and he was already taken hostage.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so and we're gonna dive deep into Troutman this movie. So that kind of like this movie made me look at Troutman a whole different way. Plus the fact that he constantly uses Rambo. The poor guy is trying to retire, since the first movie, and he just keeps pulling them back into crap. But the other issue I have after watching this movie's basically Rambo 2. It's pretty much it's the Russians again. He's rescuing hostages. He's basically, I think the Russians, when they're torturing or pretending to torture Troutman, they say the same lines from the second movie, I think. Like it's literally, it's almost the same story as the second one.
Yeah,
in
it
a
is.
lot of
Except
ways.
he doesn't have a girlfriend. He has the girlfriend
No.
that gets gunned
No,
down in the second
but
one.
he has a kid. He has a kid. I mean, this movie. So I mean, it's just like, I mean, again, I get it. It's the time. I think the conflict when this movie came out with Russia and Afghanistan was kind of changed.
Oh yeah, it
by
was
then.
the end of the movie, just like the 2008 Rambo.
Right.
Very
Right.
political. This one at the end, I said this one's for like the freedom fighters of Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, you already used the Russian angle. Why are you doing it again? Like it just.
Well,
it
he
just
fought Drago the year before this came out.
Okay, so 3 movies in a row about Russia. I mean, like, like I think if you went a different angle, again, I think their fault was in part 2 they combined, Vietnam with Russia,
Yeah.
so they used 2 bad guys at once. You could have used one for one and one for the other. But yeah, I mean, Troutman to me is just awful. That's the bottom line.
Stallone was credited with a writing credit, and there's all those stories that we've heard on like other podcasts, like How Did This Get Made, and just the fact that the 3 movies I think he has credits on in a row are the ones that are all Russia. So maybe that's his stamp on it. He's like, I wrote it, Russia. He just like sneaks it.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking in Over the Top, the bull. Was he Russian? He looked Russian.
Yeah, maybe he was. But that's what he does. He takes the script and they're like, "Oh, Sly, it's ready for you to read it." I read it. It's great. Let me add this. And he puts like the carrot on it. It says, "In Russia."
Yeah.
Oh, he did it. He wrote this movie. But no, the Troutman angle. But the biggest disappointment of the entire movie, because already at this point he is an evil man, Kurtwood Smith. How the hell was he not a double cross? That was the dumbest thing. When you saw him the first time, I'm like, okay, this is just before Star Trek 6, right after RoboCop. So it's right here. Yeah, and I'm like, this is a perfect thing. And then when he came back, which we'll get more into, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, but he's gone?
Yeah, but again, if they did that, that's another part of Rambo 2, right? So
I know.
And I think again, they already had a lot to do with Rambo 2, so to add that in there. So here's a question I have now also. So you take John Rambo from the first movie. Mm-hmm. He's a simple guy just coming back from Vietnam, right? He's a badass.
Here's what I wrote. He was a vet returning home, and now he's living in a monastery stick fighting.
Well, that's part of what I'm going to get to.
Okay,
but so the first part is, again, he was obviously a badass soldier, just a soldier in Vietnam. Somehow, he knows how to ride a horse like the best stunt riders ever. Which I don't think they taught him that. Again, the United States trained him to be a war hero, right? In a war, not to like be like a John Wick or Taken. So the fact that now knows how to stick fight, like in the beginning of the movie, again, cool scene, but that's not Rambo. It's the fact that he's doing that. But the second movie ends with him in the United States, going on his way. How does he end up in Afghanistan? Or in Thailand? Like, how does he end up there?
Oh, I don't know. He just wanted to maybe film the end of the movie there. I don't know.
Just the fact that he went from the United States back, this doesn't make sense. Why he was doing that?
A lot of it doesn't make sense. But no, you talked about it perfectly. But the fact that the beginning scene, so he's in Thailand, Troutman and Red Foreman go see him, and you're just thinking like, oh my God, this is like gonna be like I just mentioned before. Oh, he's gonna set him up like he's the bad guy, or maybe Krenna, something like that. Like, oh, Krenna's the bad guy. But no, it's just and the scene. All right, I'll play a little clip if you guys are watching. You can hear it. It like the beginning of it. It looks as though it's like a tender moment. He's a monk, right?
Well, wait, you talking about after the fight?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not showing it yet. I didn't click live.
Well, listen. First of all, the first time you see John Rambo when he turns around, okay. This, first of all,
it's a tender moment in slow mo. He's giving his necklace to a monk.
when he walks towards the camera, it's like a good 20 seconds of staring at the camera, walking slow. Watch.
A lot of wasted slow-mo. The turn. Oh,
this looks like a shampoo commercial.
did you ever see the meme? It was like my lesbian
look at
aunt
this.
is coming over, and it's a picture of Sly.
But look at this. Look how long it's
Ridiculous.
But the way he was like flipping his hair and he turns around and he got his long hair, it's basically a shampoo commercial.
Yeah, I do love because I was not expecting it. Because I don't remember this movie at all. I have the poster on the wall over there, but yeah, then he's going into pretty much, we didn't hear those people outside. They just are allowed to start speaking when Rambo walks in. It's just insane.
How does Troutman find him in this?
Great question. Yeah.
That's impossible.
In the world where at this point, this is 88, 89, it would probably take forever. He doesn't want to be found.
Okay.
So there's no paper trail or anything.
Correct. Now, the fault in what you just said, 100%. That's why he's moving. He went from the United States. He wants to live a simple life and go. Then why is he using his real name?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they're chanting Rambo.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't want to be found, which clearly he's working at a monastery, he doesn't want to be found, but he's using his real name.
He's like, it's like, oh, that's Ron Hambo. Oh, it can't be him. It's not John Rambo, right?
Now, again, the fighting, again, very cool.
It is cool.
But that would take years and years and years of training to fight like that. He's fighting like he's Bruce Lee. I mean, and in the movie, he does do a roundhouse kick later in the movie.
Oh, he does. Yeah. No, the one that I do like, and I think we always talk about this when it comes to action movies, if it's a slow movie, you just want a payoff at the end. And you really do, like, from when he gets to once he gets to the camp, which is like 45 minutes in, there's pretty much non-stop action for the rest of the movie. So it does make it fun. But the first 45, it just has all these parts that you're like why? Like in the next scene, like we talked about a little bit, why is Troutman the one? So in the world, the number one choice to sneak in is Troutman. And wait, Rambo's 2? Like
I wrote that down. So we're that desperate that they want me to go. He says, so that's your best option because first of all, I mean, not for nothing, the entire team gets wiped out seconds into landing. So like you're sending a 70-year-old guy or 65-year-old man to go there, which again, he shows absolutely no skills whatsoever in this movie. Like he literally, like he's at one point, like Rambo's like, "You ready to go?" He goes, "Yeah, hell yeah!" And he's running. Like he kills one person, I think, in this movie. He literally kills one. He shows no skill whatsoever. And him and the misfit people that he gets dropped off with. I mean, what are the odds of like your team? You're doing a secret mission for the United States. You land there, you don't last more than 2 minutes before you're captured or dead.
Yeah, and why would you set up shop right in the middle? Again, I know it's like the desert, rather than go close to a wall or something. No, they're just in the middle. Just sitting there.
What an awful plan! Like it was just, it almost felt like that was like the first, like the military that went with Troutman. It was their first mission ever. They just signed up. It's part of basic training and dropped them off because not one person did anything. Like it was just,
You know what's the funniest part about it? When you saw where he was when they first got there and the scene started, and then when you saw where he got captured, he didn't move. It was almost like he was like the guy in the commercial, like for Ginkgo biloba that I always say you should take. Like in the middle of the supermarket and be like, "Where am I?" That's kind of what he did because everybody was dead around him. But grenades, rockets going off, and he just like nothing.
I through this whole movie, Rambo is running from every bullet. He's faster than a speeding bullet. Rambo, like he doesn't get shot once, and he's running from a helicopter that's mowing down everybody. He's getting he's running all the time away. He never sits still. Troutman is like a deer caught in headlights. He's like literally does nothing. nothing. And I like how he tries to act tough in this movie, but it looks ridiculous.
We had like 5 minutes of one-liners back and forth.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. So, if you take the first Rambo again, even the second one, both of them, there weren't any one-liners, right? They were both emotional movies. Obviously, the Vietnam part hits home. You see all these, POWs. Rambo loses someone he loves. The first one, he barely says any lines until the end of the movie. When he does, it's all emotional. This one became like a typical 80s action movie where it was almost like a buddy cop movie between Troutman and Rambo. Like it took away a little bit of like Rambo the whole point is he doesn't speak much. Mm-hmm. He's a loner. And like his personality in this movie does not match his personality in any of the other movies. And I think that's why like in the other one that we reviewed, he's back to being like very like somber,
very stoic. No, in this one he's I don't know what if he walked off the set of Tango and Cash into this. He was that kind of attitude like like when we get into it, I have a bunch of them written down. But you know what I thought about just now? This movie could have been a movie that like I'm trying to think like was the Beverly Hills Cop, right? It was written for Stallone, and then they changed it. I think it was one of those movies was like, oh yeah, Beverly Hills Cop was written for Stallone, and then that became Axel Foley with Eddie Murphy, and then Tango and Cash was what came afterwards. But like when it comes to this movie, this could have been a script that was sitting on a desk, like that somebody blew off. That was like Mr. Magoo goes to the army. Yeah. And then in the script it said, and he teams up with a Stallone-like character, and then he just script out, because it's insane how just aloof he is. I know. Even at one point, he has a gun pointed to the guy beating up Stallone, and I know they're so close, but I'm like, this is the best guy, right? He should be able to shoot a guy from 100 yards away. Nah.
It's again, and I think Stallone has said in the past that this is his least favorite Rambo. Which maybe it's why it took 20 years to make the fourth one.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, he probably never could get money for it again. They're probably like, where do you want to go with it? Because it changed the whole thing.
It did. And again, I did like the fourth one. I even, I didn't mind the last one.
I love the fourth one, yeah.
And again, this one, because it is, like you said, all action and Stallone, it's still entertaining. It doesn't make it a good movie, but it makes it an entertaining movie, and I think that's, the difference. Because I think like Rambo 2 is like one of my favorites. I absolutely love Rambo 2. It's not a good movie, but it's an entertaining movie, right? So there's and I think that's what it is. Like Rambo 2 is one of my favorite Rambos. I absolutely love Rambo 2. I mean,
when he takes the Murdoch, I'm coming. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
The whole thing. And it's almost like, so it's like Rocky, right? Like the first Rocky, great story. Second one is the best Rocky. The first Rambo, First Blood is great story. Obviously, it's a little slower. He, doesn't. And then the second one just comes in and like, this one again, it was just, it wasn't Rambo. Like it didn't feel like Rambo. Because again, he had the one-liners, and Rambo would never dare to have one-liners.
No, like to say he says like 17 iterations of "My war's over."
Yeah, no, and I wrote down a few lines too. So I mean, and again, they were funny. Some of the lines were pretty funny. It just didn't fit for Rambo. I think there's a line used in the second one because when Troutman was refusing to give any answers, the Russian says, "You wish to test me," or something like that, and that's something that I think he says in the second movie. The other Russian guy said to Stallone, "Oh, you want to test me?" That's when he puts him in the shock thing. And, so I think it's the same exact line that was used, except, not for nothing. I mean, with Troutman, you just slap him in the face and he looks like he's going to fall down. He doesn't have to be.
I thought he was going to die, and then they stopped because they felt bad a few times. There was one time that big oaf guy, and then there was a guy dressed in a security guard outfit. So we're on like a military thing. Everybody's in like military garb, and you have one guy with like a star, like a sheriff's star on.
Yep. And you notice this happens in every single movie, whether it's Indiana Jones, or whatever action movies. There's always one big guy in the villains, in the army for the other. Why is there only one big guy always? Like, don't you like if they had like a whole team of like big people, like there's only one that comes out to join the army and everybody else is just regular size? Because
maybe it's Nintendo's ice hockey and you can only pick a few, one skinny guy, one medium guy, and one fat guy. So I know. Why do they always have
every movie?
There's only one badass that you have to worry about.
Every movie. And mechanic in Indiana Jones, the big guy, like every movie, always has that one. And yeah, this one, you were waiting for the big fight at the end with this guy. But yeah.
And that was like, again, that was the kind of ridiculous. That whole scene in the cave was just absolutely wild.
Okay. Oh, there's so many questions with the cave thing.
But we'll get to it. So then now that he's caught, Red Foreman comes back, and this is when I was like, this is like, I think the last time you see him, but this is when he's like, oh yeah, bad news, Rambo. And then he just goes, I'm here to tell you. And he turns around and walks away. And then
basically leaving Troutman there.
I know. He was like, we can't do anything about it. And he goes, can't be done officially. Do it unofficially. I'm like, Rambo wouldn't. Like, come on, man.
It's almost like he came over there, like waiting to see Rambo's response. Like, all right, we can't do anything about it.
I know.
Like,
the slow walk away.
Looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I mean, Rambo immediately. You know what? I almost feel like it's possible that Troutman got captured on purpose just to bring Rambo there.
Maybe
because he knew he couldn't do it himself. And again, that's Troutman. Again, you look at all the movies. Troutman has set up Rambo every time. Like this guy is trying to get away from. He went through such a hard time in Vietnam. Why do you want to keep bringing him back to that kind of life again? This guy's lucky to be alive, and you keep using him, and you only trained one guy. Wouldn't you think, was there no one else in the class when you're, he was the only one in the class for years? After Rambo, you know what? That took too much work. We're not going to train anyone else.
Every person that came in, he's like, you're not as good as Rambo. It's like Rambo, he was already ready, and he really didn't have to train at all. He put his feet on the desk, and he's like, we're just going to hang out for the next 6 months.
But you're going to, I would love to see a prequel. Why did they pick Rambo? And was it like a old like a blood sport or something, or where they just trained by some one-on-one kind of thing, or was there a class, a group of Rambos, and just one survived, one made it through?
That'd be interesting. That would be like a good movie, because you have no idea how he got there, and he's such an interesting character. No family,
correct.
He's alone. He never talks about his past,
correct.
Except he barely even talks about the war. So yeah, that'd be good.
And again, you have to question, why is there only one killing machine like Rambo? There has to be another one. There has to be you stopped, you made the mold and that's it. It broke and you just didn't go anyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
They were probably make more. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this guy's a pain in the ass to begin with. I mean, he's getting arrested. He's doing, forget it. We can't, forget it.
He's getting hosed by cops. Yeah, we can't mess with this guy. So then Red Foreman finds him like a guy that's part of the rebels. And that guy's really funny because I would hope Red Foreman told him or he realized by all the weapons that he got sent over, the amount of weapons that he has on those horses. When he calls him a tourist, he goes, what are you, a tourist? That was his whole thing.
That was the worst group of rebels I think I've ever seen.
They were terrible.
They look like they were just farmers who they just gave a bunch of, weapons to. And the fact that, they're getting mowed down every other day by the Russians, yet they have time to play goat ball. I mean,
what
you're
in that, dude?
Okay. We'll get to that. But I mean, the point is you're that at any moment you could be attacked. But no, let's have a full field game of whatever that is, because we have time to do that. And everybody's no one looks like there's no lookouts. Everybody has a gun to the side. They're relaxing. No wonder you got mowed down, and no wonder you're not lasting, because no one's paying attention to, the life that you basically are living. So yeah. Awful.
Goat ball. Oh my God. When should we attack? Well, they have goat ball at 2 p.m. so we can go right at 2:15.
Oh, I definitely have questions about that, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Or-
So he gets snuck in, and so then we get this is when Rambo starts to meet everybody, right? And there's the Russian defector,
and the
who
kid
knows everything about the inside.
Yeah, but he doesn't last long either. By the way, he gets mowed down.
None of the good people last long.
No. Well, I don't think any of them were good, but yes. I mean, that whole So yeah, this is where he meets everybody. Then he meets the kid, which I want to know, where's this kid's parents? I mean, this kid is.
They died.
He says that.
Well, I
already?
think his parents were already dead, and then he said
Okay.
they killed my whole family. That's why he wanted to go back.
So is he the only kid in that group?
There was other kids. Do you remember the other two kids?
No.
The first two kids we saw were even younger, and they were holding guns. And I'm like, oh my god, that's like so. It was very emotional, like the scene when we get to the goat ball. But even like Afghanistan, I know they filmed this movie in Israel, but just the scenery there, it looked like you were looking at a painting, like inside that cave, which they use that same cave like multiple times, from different angles. But it was just looks so cool.
No, it did. And again, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I figured his parents are dead, but the fact that like they just keep letting him running around, he seems more into the war than the actual adults do.
Oh yeah, they're not into it.
Not at all. He's like ready to fight, and like the other one just like the main guy that he's I guess the tour guide, whatever. He seems absolutely useless. Like he looks like he's never shot a gun before.
Yeah, no, he's not that good in that one. In the end scene, he helps out a little bit, but no,
a little bit. Yeah.
The kid in this movie, he kind of reminded me of the Toto from American Ninja 2. Yes, Toto, all he wanted was stuff. Remember, it was like $5. Okay, give me $10. This kid's the same way. He was like, he was like a knife, and he was like, hey, can I have that knife? And he's like, oh, that's a cool necklace. Can I have that? It's like, whoa, dude.
Well, I mean, not for nothing. The kid lives in the middle of the desert. I mean, he probably doesn't have anything but his rifle. I mean, so
that's true.
So how about we didn't even talk about Rambo's like outfit. Like he's literally wearing like a black guinea tee tucked in.
Oh, I know.
And a belt. You really need a belt when you're in like I mean like it just it's just funny that that's what he's wearing. Everybody else is like in full like desert garb.
Yeah, so you're not burning your skin. He's like, no, I'm good. I didn't see you put on sunscreen once in this movie. Come on, Sly. Sunscreen awareness, man.
Well, I think that might have lessened his toughness a little bit.
If he was like, ow.
Listen, even the sun, he's like Chuck Norris. Even the sun can't affect Rambo.
That's true. What would be a worse scene, to see him applying the sunscreen, like the Afghan guy helping him apply it, or him putting on aloe vera? Ow!
I was just gonna say the same thing. I think that would be the worst scene, is having the tour guide put sunscreen on his back.
Yeah. They could have added it. I was shocked that this movie wasn't longer, because Stallone got into that when it wasn't a canon film. He was getting into that like longer movie. Wasn't that bad? I think it was like an hour 45. That was like they had a lot of time for horse stunts. There was definitely a horse has died in this movie. There was, when they were falling in the field, I was like, there's no way none of these horses got hurt.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, during the game, you see horses like flipping over, like it's okay. I think we're close to the game now, right? Is this the game?
We're pretty well. The only thing that happens before the game is when Troutman is like sort of getting tortured, and that Zazen guy, the lieutenant, which I love. He's like, I want to talk to who's charged, and he's like, I am one who charged. If you notice, it was like the only two Russian accents the actors did. And I think they were Russian, but it was like Boris and Natasha was one. And then the defector guy, definitely Borat, because he was doing that. And then it's right here. And then here. And he kept doing it over and over again. But yeah, dude, again, Troutman, out of shape, won't be able to fight himself out of a paper bag, and he's telling the guy, the missiles, they're up my ass.
He's talking smack, and
I'm like, what?
You know what? And not for nothing, like those Russians weren't good torturers. Like
they were terrible.
Their torture to Troutman was just to hang him by his wrists.
Yeah.
I mean, Stallone, like if you watch the first one, the guy that the POW saved, he was going to poke his eye out with the poker stick that was in the fire. Stallone's getting electrocuted, and like Troutman, I don't even think got punched, or he might have got punched in the stomach once. He didn't get punched in the face. Like it's like very. And again, I think you're right. They brought like, all right, this guy's fragile. Like
This guy's
we
gonna
gotta be
die.
gentle.
We don't want to die in our watch,
Yeah,
man.
we need some answers, so we got to be
Yeah.
gentle with him. So we're gonna hang him by his wrists.
Yeah, and then this is when we see that guy that we saw for like a little bit, like when Rambo first met the guide. We see that guy again, and he's telling them John Rambo, and then he's like,
Yep.
"Who is this John Rambo?"
Yeah.
And then he goes, what does he say? He says, "I want to find him." And he goes, "Oh, you don't have to worry about finding him. He'll find you."
Yeah. But here's exactly what we're talking about of how simple his torture was, because as soon as Rambo rescues him, he's like running around like, let's go.
Oh.
Like you would think he would, like, again, at his age, if he was going through real torture, Rambo was going to have to like half carry him to wherever they're
100%.
going.
Yeah.
He's like he was like have full energy. He had more energy then.
Yeah, he was running like
He was
he's like, you
ready
know
to go.
what? I really needed a vacation. I just want to use a nap. That's all he does, nap for 48 hours.
Ridiculous.
Great
Yeah,
rice
okay.
pudding and Jello. I
Ugh.
love it. But yeah. And then how about, so we talked a little bit about this, but like when Rambo has zero patience for them, because the guys don't want to fight. They're like, oh, then they're going to kill our family. And which I get, because that's what.
Yep.
And then that one guy was so, I don't know if he's an actor.
He
I
is.
would know.
The older
Yep.
guy?
The older guy, he's a big name actor?
I think his name is Omar Sharif. I think
Oh,
that's him.
yeah. Oh, okay.
I think that's him.
Okay. But his
Yeah, you've heard of
line,
him.
like when it was like really emotional, and then he's like, we'll help you. And it's like this real big thing. And then obviously,
Was he in
what happens in the next
Romance in a Stone?
Maybe. I
He
know
might
that
have been
name.
he might have been in Romance, one of the, like Jewel the Nile, I think, maybe. He might have been in there. So
Yeah, but
interesting.
yeah, no, it was just such a powerful scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he goes, and he even utters line like, all right, fine, I'll go alone. Because at first he's like, I just need two guys there to get me across the mines, and then two there to help me get people back. They're like, I don't know. And he's like, fine, I'll go alone. All right.
Well,
So,
I think, I mean, not for nothing. I think if anyone, if they went with him, they would just slow him down anyway.
oh, I know.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. So,
Even the guys that volunteered slowed him down because one was a kid that he was not ready for to be there.
correct. Although he does save them, doesn't he, at one point or some? I thought he like does some kind of shooting. or
No,
something.
I think he does help. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That guy's
Yeah.
in like Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Funny
he's a,
Girl. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, but so like I think like again I think they're looking at Rambo as like, this guy's crazy. Like, we first of all, I mean, look at the size of Rambo. Why are they even questioning? Like, that he can do anything, because they're like, because they're not even paying attention to him until he starts playing goat ball.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
so like, I mean, you look at the rest of your crew, and then you look at Rambo, like he kind of sticks out a little bit. Like, yeah, this guy's been through some stuff, so yeah.
The dumbest part of this movie, I hope Stallone did read this line. I love Stallone. But how about when they're talking about, when he's explaining the rules of like,
I
goat,
know what you're gonna say.
right? Like he says, I prefer football. And the guy says,
Oh.
football. Oh, you hit the ball with your foot. It's like, hey, dude, that's soccer to you. Like the whole world is soccer is football. Football is soccer.
Yeah.
And he's like confused at what football is. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
Stallone explained it at all. He just said, oh, I prefer football. But the guy's
Okay,
like, oh,
well,
football?
Do you see any TVs where they are?
No.
Okay, so I mean, it's very possible he has no clue what football is. I mean,
Yes, he does
they-
it. It's like it's the one sport that anybody can do. You get a ball.
he's in the middle of the desert with no TVs. They're playing.
They kick
football.
balls.
They're playing goat ball. You think they know anything about football?
Once it deteriorates the skull, they use that to kick around.
Oh, I like it when he's describing how to play goat ball, and he says, "You take the sheep and put it in a circle." And Stallone goes, "Why?" So the guy goes, "Because there's a circle there."
Yeah, that was good.
NFL para todos neste dia de ação de graças, com uma semana de Game Pass por apenas R$ 4,99. Junte-se a nós e assista a todas as partidas, em um dia inteiro de futebol americano, com muitos touchdowns e tradições icônicas. Celebre o dia de ação de graças por apenas R$ 4,99. Assine agora em @dazon.com/NFL.
No, what's funny, the whole idea of it, because it's like it's so simple. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Who comes up with a game like that when it's, first of all, a dead goat has got to be extremely heavy. Like, it's, it's dead weight.
Yeah.
They're not small. I mean, the thing is huge. First of all, it's also gross. I mean, you really want to grab a dead goat. Like, whoever described, like, who thought up the game, there had to be other objects around him that they could have said, you know what? Let's play ball, like cup ball. Let's play, like bowl ball. Like things that are around him. No, let's see the goat over there. I say let's kill the goat and just play where you just got to keep throwing the goat around, and whoever, like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, whoever came up with I want to know, like, the history of goat ball.
Why don't we use how about old hats? We throw old hats in the circles, and somebody else says, no, you moron, I got it. Goats, dead ones. We need food. We're in the middle of nowhere, so how about we spoil the meat by letting the goat die and then getting it filled with sand, which is disgusting.
And again, it's got to be awkward. Like, it's swinging from the legs. It's like, you got to pick it up and it's heavy. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So whoever came up with that, I just want to know the history of goat ball. Like, first of all, I'm assuming it's a real thing because I can't imagine them making that up and putting it in the movie. Like, it seems so bizarre. So it must be a real thing.
Oh, you know, it probably is. They had a guy, I watched it behind the scenes. I'll put it on sequelsonly.com/Rambo 3. There's a video on YouTube. It's like behind the scenes. That's one thing Stallone, whenever he did movies, he really did, like, he wanted to be there. Yeah. So he hired an Afghan, and that guy was like the local one. So he helped figure out like the outfits. So they were, and because the war was going on, they were going to the border, like set decorators and wardrobe, and going there and getting pieces that were authentic to make the scenes like legit. So
he told him at goat ball.
I hope so.
Okay, so then, you know what? I'm going to have to do research on it because I just want to know how goat ball started.
It's got to be I would think it would have to be a real
First
thing,
of all,
right?
I'm hoping it's called goat ball because that's a great name. If it's not goat ball, I don't want to know, But yeah. And it seemed like all you do is, like, was there any teams, or was it like every man for himself? Because it seemed like it was just chaos.
It looked like chaos. And again, we talked about like all the guys being so out of shape and old.
Oh,
the only guy that was in shape was the guy that said, "Hey, you want to play?"
Yeah.
And that guy, and I think that was one of the first guys that died.
He also might have been the one that knocked Stallone off his.
Oh, he did. He was the one that punched him.
Right.
But when Stallone came back on, that was, that's strange.
No, it was cool. But again, like, can you pass the goat? Like, can you fling it and like someone else catch the goat somewhere else? And like, or is it every man for himself? Because it was complete. Even when he was walking after he got knocked down, how come no one picked the goat up? Like, Stallone's walking around holding the goat and then jumped back on his horse while he's holding the goat. And then he did the old side swipe.
Yeah.
Which,
I don't know why nobody was there for that. But so don't Google is goat ball real? Because
something else comes up.
It goes, I'm gonna tell you the top 3 things. Number 1, the bizarre history of a bogus doctor who prescribed I don't know. That was stupid. Next one is which goat ball testicles is a true goat for bowling, like a bowling Reddit page. And then number 3, goat testicles. But the best thing is it says we are sourcing wild quality goat from Australia. These animals have never even seen a man.
Oh,
so that's
you know what? I would have believed if they at least if the goat dies, use their testicles as the game.
Oh, that'd be good.
Then that's a little better. Like that'd be like to use the whole goat still doesn't make sense. But anyway, like I said before, they're doing this. The reason why Rambo's there is to help them because they're getting attacked left and right. And the field of goat ball was huge. I mean, they were like a football field. Like they were going back and
in
forth.
The middle of nowhere. They keep getting attacked. Oh, are they moving? Or are they getting attacked and not moving? It's like, I wonder how they find us. Oh, we moved 5 feet over.
I was going to say, it must be very easy to find if you're in the open. Why no one's paying attention? Like I said, they didn't look like there was one guard. Everybody had their guns to their side. And what got the main guy there excited was seeing Stallone go on the side of his horse and pick up the goat. Like now I believe he is a warrior because he could play goat ball. So if you're good at goat ball,
really quick, because after he won and he was doing the slow-mo Rocky run on the beach, like is when the helicopters came in. Wow, dude, that scene was and you get it. It was like emotional at the end of it, but the amount of people that die,
I think almost everybody. Yeah, absolutely. And again, Stallone somehow is constantly dodging bullets.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like he was like hiding in every scene when he's getting shot at, and mostly by a helicopter. Mm-hmm. He's just riding straight. He's not going zigzagging. He's not going behind boulders. He's literally just outrunning the bullets every single time.
I do love the explosives they used in this movie, because there were some, even when he was running in that scene, it probably took so long to film, like just him running, because each run, there was an explosion. But one of my favorite ones, he ran, he hid behind like what was like probably something they built just for the day. It was like almost like a building.
Yeah.
And then he like went against it and they blew through the windows. So I'm like, wow, dude. No, he definitely does all the stuff. That's like what Jeff said. You know, even though like he worked with Sly and Schwarzenegger all in the same year, and he said Arnold was like more pleasant, but obviously Stallone is the better actor and he does more of his own stunts. But
you know something? I'm glad you said that, by the way, about the explosions, because I have another question.
Yeah.
His best weapon in the second movie is exploding arrows.
Oh, yeah.
Where did he get them from in this movie?
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe it was the stuff that he ordered, because remember that guy had all the stuff that he ordered from Red Foreman, but we never saw him go open those or use those or anything. Yeah. They came out of left field that he even had a bow and arrow. When he was getting that ready, I'm like, where did that come from?
Wait, where did the bazooka come from later on?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because he's already there with horses. So he had the bazooka later on. So, but I mean, like, I've never seen any other movie or any like military people ever use exploding arrows except for him. And again, he used it years ago because, you know, I don't know what the time difference was from the second movie to the third movie, you know, in Rambo time.
Yeah.
But I doubt that he had any left over. And if he did, how did he get it on the plane from the United States to go, you know, Thailand? So, but the fact that he did have exploding arrows again I was like, all right, I'm not sure where he got that from.
Yeah, but those are wild. Like when he started doing it, I'm like, really? Like this is what he had out of nowhere. But I don't know if you noticed. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it makes me wonder, why don't we use it more often? Exploding arrows.
Why not?
Because they are pretty badass. I mean, like, you know, for an arrow, the size of the explosion that it does
it really do that? I believe that it does.
I don't know,
but
I don't know if they're real. Are they real? Because I've never do military run around with bow and arrows.
I hope not.
That's what I mean. So I don't know if they're real or not, or who uses them. But we should have used them.
Those are cool in video games. I always like the exploding arrows. But and then so sometimes when I watch these scenes, I always look for, it's like, especially when there's a lot of extras and background people, there was one horse that fell and the stunt guy went over him. And man, dude, obviously it'd be out there if he died, but his head went right into the ground. The horse like stopped and rolled, which I'm like, that horse got hurt.
I would
probably
think
Elmer's glue.
Being a stunt man, I would think that horse stunts have got to be almost like the toughest ones.
You have to get paid a lot of money.
I would think so, because they're very unpredictable. You know, like it's one thing doing your own stunt, jumping off a building, you know, whatever, getting thrown through a window. But when you're on its horse, you know, it changes everything.
Yeah, frightening. So Rambo gets to a gunner, like after he's running through, he gets to a gunner, and he's just like taking everyone out. He takes out one of the helicopters. And then like the lieutenant saves that, and he's like so pissed off about him. But that was it. And then that guy left. So Rambo blowing up the one thing, it was like, all right, we're done.
Well, he couldn't see anymore because there was a lot of smoke. Because after the helicopter exploded, like he kind of looked over there, or he was like, all right, well, if he took out this helicopter, doesn't mean he can't take out my helicopter.
The next one,
So I think at that point he's like, all right, we're not dealing with a typical Afghani. So, I need to go back and talk to the old man and find out who I'm really dealing with. And I think that's why he turned around, because, clearly no one else would have done anything that Rambo just did.
No, and all I thought about when they showed like the aerial shots and you see all the dead people and they're picking up their loved ones and people crying, I'm just like, all because Troutman like had to go to war. Because if he didn't go, if he was like, guys, I'm not number one guy, I don't know why you're buttering me up. If he didn't ask Rambo, all this stuff would not have happened. So many people died.
100%. And I said this throughout the whole movie, that Troutman is a bad guy. Again, he puts Rambo's life on the line all the time. And if he didn't go down there, that whole village is still alive.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like we always talk about like the horror movies, like Jason Lives, for example. Like, oh, Tommy, it's his fault. Like, why the hell is he trying to bring back Jason? And all those people died, so that's on him. But this is like a lot of people just because he was trying to be selfish and going in. But one line again, I know it's regurgitating the line. This one I think was really cool because the Omar Sharif said, "This is not your war," and he said, "It is now." And it's like, it is now, right, man.
Yeah. Again, I think I feel like something like that was said maybe in the second movie too. Like, there were such similarities between both movies. But yeah, so
then they're going in, they're breaking in, but it only ends up being because of all the people that died. It's just the guy that Red Foreman set him up with, like the guide, and the kid's trying to follow along. He says, "Don't come." Yeah.
Okay. So it was cool the way he was trying to find the mines, crawling. I mean, I don't know, who knows how long they crawled for, but fine. How did the kid get there? Because the kid wasn't there. So he had to go through the mines.
Exactly. That's all I thought about. I'm like, wow, they're crawling, poking the ground, doing all of this.
Yeah. And the kid
and he gets there perfectly. Yeah. How about the grenade not going off? That to me was so dumb. If it's on the pin that it's getting pulled, all Rambo does is touch the grenade. Doesn't hold the pin or hold it together. He holds their grenade still. I'm like, that makes it worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, there's a couple things here. So one, first of all, they had like a twist tie on the gate. That Rambo had.
I know.
So I don't think they set it up properly, but how about the fact that how sloppy, like Rambo's going so slow, like low and slow under the wire. And then you got the tour guide not even thinking, like his ass is sticking up, his bag is over, and like, he's not even thinking about, anything. Like, he's so sloppy the way he was moving. And this is the main guy, like, is one of the guys that are protecting your village. Yeah.
Yeah, Rambo should have helped him out. Maybe like hold the string up a little bit, or tell him to go on his back the way Rambo did, so you could see what you're doing. Yep. No, this guy was just like, just gonna blow everybody up. He doesn't care.
And I mean, and once they're in there, Rambo's like basically running out in the open to each area he's going. Okay, so here's a question I have, and this happened again in a lot of movies when someone's kidnapped and you go in there to. Now they're setting up bombs or whatever all over the place. How do they know where Troutman is? Like, what if you set put a bomb on an area where Troutman is? Now you just kill Troutman. Like, he's running around placing little bombs all over the place, and these are tunnels. These are like underground. Like, he knows exactly where Troutman is because he gets there in like 2 seconds.
That's true. Yeah, how would he know? I guess he trusts the Russian defector. Because remember, he was like, where's the prison? Right here. And he's like, how do you get out? And then he was trying to explain that it was like the sewer.
But the map, I mean, it wasn't, what kind of map was that he's able to easily figure out? Like, you have to be exact, based on the map and based on getting there, you have to be exact, because it seemed like there was multiple holes in the ground to get into tunnels. It almost looked like a gopher tunnels. Like, there were different holes all over the place.
Oh, I know. It was wild. Yeah.
You could slide, and he finds holes throughout this whole scene back and forth that he's able to like hide in, jump in, go around, and he goes exactly where he needs to go.
He, in the one point, jumps down one without looking, and I'm like, how's there no one there?
And how does he not know how?
He's like lucky
how
no one's there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, listen. At one point, when he's looking for because he still isn't sure where Troutman is because he asked the women that are in
he's
prison.
an American, and he's like, "All right, bye."
Okay, but
Can you
number
help me?
one, they don't speak English,
I know.
so even American might not even sound like American to them.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he's even talking to them, but that just shows you, even though he has the map, he doesn't know where Troutman is. So the fact that he went in these holes and still guided himself basically to Troutman without having really like knowing any idea where he's going.
It was all luck. He just like goes wherever.
It really was.
So when I was watching this, I thought of a question. I put this on Twitter at Sequels Only. I should have done a poll because it'd have been easier. But for you, Jamie, you're trapped. Let's say you're Troutman. Who would you rather want to save you? Who would you trust?
Oh. That's a good call. I mean, you know what? Listen, they both outrun bullets.
Yeah.
Because it's a tough call.
I would say, what's crazy about Matrix?
I thought you were gonna put John Wick.
Oh, or McClane. I almost was gonna do McClane.
Oh no.
So the Johns.
McClane, but McClane definitely gets sloppy. I mean, I don't know
totally.
if I mean, I think you have to go Rambo. I mean, the guy saved how many soldiers in Vietnam? Like even when he's hurt, he's still, like I don't know, like even like John Wick, he gets beat up and he has to take a break. I don't know. John Wick's pretty tough too, though.
Oh no, I know. No, I was just thinking with Matrix. That's what's great about that movie. It's like he is never really hurt. Like the most he's hurt, obviously the final scene with our pal Vernon Wells. He gets a little damage, and against Bill Duke, he has a little bit of damage with the Greenberry's breakfast. But pretty much the rest of the movie.
Oh, wait a second. When you said Matrix, I'm thinking that's why I said John Wick. I thought you meant.
No, I meant John Matrix. Matrix Commando.
Okay. Well, now I get it. Because I'm like, who are you talking? Yes. Oh, okay. That changes everything.
Yeah.
I thought you said the Matrix. John Matrix. Oof, that's a tough call. I mean, you know what? That would be a great buddy movie. Matrix and John Rambo.
Like Yakup? They moved into an apartment in New York City.
But you know what? That's a tough one, man. Because Matrix is. I mean, he does get sliced. I mean, they both get sliced. I mean, but because Rambo does something gross in this movie as well. I mean, he constantly do. Yeah. So it'd be a tough call. I don't know. It'd be a tough call. I mean, I think John Matrix only based on pure size. Like I just think like Rambo kind of needs weapons. I mean, even though Matrix does need weapons at some point, but he also, I mean, guys,
he used any weapon. Remember Shed? He's upside down hanging, and he's throwing saw blades.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, Rambo throws a knife in this one also.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
So I mean, but I just think I don't think Rambo can do what Matrix did at the mall when he has 15 guys on top of him and just go like this.
No,
and all the guys go flying.
Yeah,
but that's a good question.
He couldn't land one-liners. That's one thing about Stallone. His seem, and there's so many movies that he has one-liners. They never like land. There's something about Arnold. They're perfect. Like he's dead tired, and it's like crazy how great they are.
Well, it was like the line he says when he was showing the tour guide the weapons, and he picks up the glow stick, and the guy goes, "What is this?" He goes, and Stallone goes, "It turns blue." He goes,
"Yeah,
why?" Or no, what did he say? What does it do? Turns blue, or something like that. I forget what the line was. But yeah, I mean, like it almost comes across too dry.
There,
where with Arnold, it's just a little, I lied. Like it's like more comical. So yeah.
But so now again, the kid followed him. He said, "Don't follow us." And then they get inside, and the kid's there. So the kid's already there. And then at this point, so again, like you said, they're planting all these bombs, not knowing exactly where Troutman is prior to putting the bombs. And the worst is like, you don't know how long they're there. They do the one bomb, and I don't know if we saw them set the timer on the first one, but when he went to the next one, it was like 10 minutes. And then we cut back to the first one, and it was like 4 minutes. And I'm like, what? How do they know which one's going off or where Troutman is? This whole part.
Not only that, how are they so they're giving themselves only 10 minutes to do what they need to do.
Which is insane.
Like, insane. And somehow it always works because everybody gets out in the time frame that you have. But like, like how do you, like, that's including not knowing where you're going. Like do they give, like, I wonder if they're like, listen, this could be done in 5 minutes, but I'm going to give myself a 5-minute
of course
extra just in case I can't find Troutman right away. Like it just, it's, I don't know. It seems like a very short time to do what you need to do. And this is also including ripping out the jail window.
Oh, no.
I mean, I can see John Matrix doing that. I don't know about Rambo, but
yeah. But just the fact that, like the time, like setting a time frame, because they're sneaking in. It's not like they're like they feel chaos gonna happen, because he just starts it again because he lets his guard down. He's talking to Troutman, right? He's getting Troutman.
Yep.
He's talking to him. Troutman. It's like, get out of here, forget about me. And that's when the kid comes around the corner. And that's when Rambo throws the knife, and then all hell breaks loose from there on.
And again, this is a compound where how does a kid sneak in?
Oh, I don't know. I don't get it either. Yeah, there's dogs everywhere. There's lights everywhere, and
you don't have any towers with snipers or anything, like nothing. And not for nothing. Like when he finally finds Troutman, it looks like he's like resting. Like he's like sitting on a chair, like not even trying to get out.
He's like, oh wow!
I mean,
Rambo, can you
imagine
come back next week? Can you see me next week?
But that's how he's acting. Like imagine Rambo was in a cell. Like he would have been like digging or like trying to get at like break the cell like he did. Like Troutman's literally has his feet up. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna wait for John. Yeah, he's waiting for John Rambo to come because he knows Rambo's gonna save him. Like, don't act surprised that Rambo's there. That's you knew because like
you baited him. It's
100%.
like it's like when you used to have like that ex and you'd see her at a party or something. You'd be like, oh yeah, wow, great seeing you. Maybe we'll see you later. And you text her or something, and it's like same thing. He knew that that he was gonna be back for him. Like,
and that's why I'm glad that even Rambo addressed it, because there's a point where Troutman goes, "Hey John, I'm sorry," and Rambo goes, "No, you're not."
I know. Yes, he did finally.
Yeah.
But that's so out of character for him to utter a line like that, because
absolutely
Troutman is his father figure, like to us as the audience. He really doesn't talk too much about his family, but
right.
Yeah. But how about this? Right now, the kid gets shot in the leg, which is wild. Okay. And then Rambo's running. He jumps. He hits like a giant piece of wood in his something in his leg, and then the other one through his torso.
It looked like rebar or something. Like it was like a metal pipe or
rebar
something.
Is what he ripped out of his leg, right?
It's what his side.
So that was his side. But he had a piece of wood in his leg, so he ripped that out first. But oh my god, that rebar.
Okay, but how old is the kid?
I would guess 12.
Okay, the kid gets shot. He's basically like laying there dead because Rambo, like the kid's not moving. Rambo's carrying him. And then he's later riding a horse. And then before Rambo leaves the second time, the kid's like sitting up like, okay, he got shot. Like, I get a paper cut. I want to lay down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting up. Like, this kid got shot and he's literally like not moving.
Way too chill.
Rambo, but he's like, he looks like he's like, I thought he got shot like in the chest or something, because he looked almost dead. Like Rambo, like he was a limp body when Rambo's carrying him. And then like the scene later, he's sitting up, like acting like nothing.
Yeah, nothing happened at all.
Like the blood's not leaving his leg. Like he's not like losing blood right now. Like nothing. Yeah.
One thing that was interesting, and I'm sure that that was obviously real. It's not like they didn't build it for the movie, but when they found the sewer system, where they're like slamming the sewer to open it up, when they go down there, it's like weird because it's all like rock at first, like rock walls, and then it's like fully tiled. It was like so funky. It's probably like maybe like an area in Israel that they built up and then maybe they like stopped building. But that scene was crazy too, because you have these guys that are soldiers that should know like the weapons they have, and they're like shooting these explosives when they're in the cave too. So there could be a cave in, they'd be dead.
Yeah. By the way, we have another line I forgot when he goes to Troutman, and I don't mean to cut you off, but he goes, who does he when he's like, now he's angry at like Rambo. He's like, who is this guy? Like he wants to know. And he goes to Troutman and he goes, who does this guy think he is? God? And then Troutman goes, God would have mercy. he won't.
Nice.
That's
Too
a good
many
line.
of those. That's like three or four of those interactions. And they were the same scene. It was like, where are the missiles?
Yeah.
Who's John Rambo? Who's John Rambo? And it was like, who's this guy that's killing all my people and causing me problems? Because at one point it was like, I just want to kill this Rambo. And I'm like, what? You guys can't kill Rambo. You just killed like all of these people. Same thing. Just make sure you get them. Like even that ending scene. How does that not end in seconds? We will not like. Why do they have to go? We will not shoot you. Just put your weapons down. They don't. If they don't put them down, shoot them right then. No, they wait.
And you know, again, this happens in the cliche in every movie. Like when you have someone that's mowing down 90% of your crew, what makes you think you have a chance? Like at that point, you have to be like, all right, you know what? I mean, I mean, usually you send your best guys out right away. I mean, you know, and they're not lasting anything. So like, you were like, all right, you know what? Instead of losing the rest of my crew, let's just, you know, take our losses. Let's just move on and let this guy, you know, go. No, like they're like, this guy thinks he's going to be able to. I mean, Rambo took down an airplane. I mean, a helicopter himself, you know. So what makes this guy think he has any chance whatsoever? And and we talk about this all the time. I mean, if they have news or anything else, you don't think Rambo 2 news made the airwaves at all?
Oh, I know, man.
That this guy saved, you know, POWs that were there for 20 years and all this, like, you know, like, so you would think this guy would be on the news that, you know, other countries are listening to and watching and knowing, so they should know who Rambo is.
Yeah, he should be the guy to do the research on. Like, wow, who's the biggest guy that's scary? Like with the U.S. Oh, this John Rambo guy. No, it's like always like such a shock. Like, oh, who is this guy?
Yep.
Oh my God. And then this is where, so at this point, Rambo, he leaves the kid, he leaves the guy, it's just him and Troutman, he gave him the necklace. One thing I wrote, and I think it's so true, like there's everything matters in a movie, like front of the camera, behind the camera, and like the music. Like this movie lacked dialogue so much. But like the Jerry Goldsmith having like a legendary composer do the score, even some of the scenes where it was just like Russian speak for like 2 minutes straight, I'm just like, but the score is in the background. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But without that, man, it definitely saved some of the scenes that were so drawn out. Even like when they're leaving after they give the jewel to the kid.
Yep.
It's like this long drawn out, like slow-mo, like, okay, just get to the next scene. Get it moving.
Well, they have to make it dramatic.
Too dramatic. Like really. And then the next Rambo scene's wild, dude. When he's like cauterizing the wound and I
mean, but okay, I don't care how tough you are. You can't heal from that fast.
No.
Like that's got to be like, you got to, it's like, you know, when you break a rib and, you know, you can't do anything for it and it hurts when you cough and sneeze. This guy put flames through his one side of his body to the other. He basically, like, you know, loaded his body, you know, with fire, and he's out running around like nothing. The next scene.
Well, no, is he just running around or is he scaling the side of a mountain? Like, straight up cliffhanger, like nothing, no harness. Yeah, I'm just gonna go up.
I mean, that was ridiculous. Like they like that scene did not have to be in there, because as far-fetched as the whole movie is, that just took it to a whole nother level, because they kept zooming out to show you how, like, you know, like really, like he's on this mountain, and it just looked ridiculous. Like, you know, like that. Where was that mountain that he's like, and who's up there? That, like, you know, because the Russians were down below.
Well, I think that's maybe where they brought Troutman, because he went up, and then that's where he saved Troutman, because Troutman is seconds away from being blowtorched by the guy with the sheriff's star on his outfit.
Okay. How long did it, I mean, because you see the blowtorch.
I know.
And then you see, and then again, like they did not torture Troutman at all. Like it was almost all mind torture. Like, all right, we got this blowtorch, so if you don't tell us, you know, we're gonna give you 3 chances. You know,
nothing. Like, like not. I was like, oh, at least do something, like some kind of damage. No, then he gets him out pretty quick, and then he goes, "I'll give it a shot, flying a plane."
Well, before that, he goes, "Take what?" No, he says it afterwards. Okay, Yeah, you're right. I'll take it. He flew a helicopter last time.
I know, but it's just like, I'll take a shot. I'll take a stab at this.
Do you think it's that easy if you fly one plane, or a helicopter, you can just fly them all?
Oh my God, I don't think so. It's like
I don't think
cars, dude. I get into a car, I'm like, all right, windows, mirrors. Let me move my seat.
He flies it like it's like nothing to him.
He's a pro.
Yeah.
And the next scene, like, think about all the people that died at Troutman's. There's a Troutman, and they're like joking in the next scene. He's even like smirking. I'm like, this isn't even over yet. Like, nothing is over at this point.
Not only that, he goes, I have to rest.
Yeah.
He's been resting the whole movie.
Yeah.
Troutman's been resting the whole movie. Rambo is like, and Troutman has to rest?
Yeah.
Like, Rambo has nonstop since he's been there. Since Goat Ball, he hasn't stopped.
He's been on a forever nap.
Yes.
And all right, fine. I guess I do something.
and when the plane goes down, he goes, take what you can. You know what Troutman takes? The only thing he takes is rope. That was the only thing it comes in handy later, I guess. But that's all he took was the rope.
Maybe he was like, Rambo, this whole sleeping with your hands tied to the sky actually works pretty good, man. I'm getting some good sleep. So he's like, hey, can you tie my hands? And he's like, hey,
he's useless. He really is in this whole movie, absolutely useless.
Yeah. He gives bad advice in the other ones too.
He does.
Even the first one, he was like kind of in a way like for it, like him going at the cops, which again, the cops deserved it. But it was like, he was like probably like, I want him to be my killing machine again.
No, of course. He made him sound worse than he was. It wasn't like he was like, listen, this guy is, just trying to go home. He's just, he won these like military awards. Let's just cut him a break. Could have said any of that, and maybe it would have been a little softer. No, instead he just hyped him up like he's a killing machine. Yeah. And we got so yeah, ridiculous.
And this is like from the crash is when he has the bow and arrow. So was it on there? Did it just happen to be on there? Was that his package from Red Foreman?
So yeah, but that was a Russian plane.
I know. So the Russians are into bow and arrow explosives.
So do you think that like inside Rambo's like laughing when Troutman says, all right, let's split up so we can, do you think Rambo really thinks like Troutman stinks? Like, I don't think he thinks so. And it's like it's almost like snickering, like, okay, like you're going to do anything on your own. Yeah, go ahead. You go on your own, get out of my head.
Troutman can't shoot from like point blank range. So, do you know what Rambo does? For anybody that's listening and didn't watch this yet, I would definitely recommend finding it to watch or just watch clips. Rambo somehow sneaks up on a helicopter, a plane, like one of those giant, like Black Hawk, like kind of ones that look like planes too. He sneaks up, he like tiptoes up a mountain, pops up and kills it. He blows it up out of nowhere. Like
this scene is like almost like a montage of the first movie of setting up little traps and like killing like individualists, because he goes around and kills a few people. After that the scene with the helicopter, when he's in a tunnel, he smashes people's head. Again, you just Troutman. I can't get him off my mind because he just, all this time I always respected him as like the father figure and the general and whatever he was. This movie just totally ruined everything because it's almost like he's a fraud. Like,
he is a fraud. 100%. He does nothing.
Again, this is the guy that trained Rambo. I don't think so, because you know what? If you take like look at the guy in Bloodsport that trained Dukes.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever. Like that guy was old and he still could jump or kickboxer. The guy can still jump and kick the melon or coconut in the air, at his age. Troutman's not doing anything.
Nothing. I don't think he ever do any of that stuff.
He killed one, again, I think he killed one person. And the only reason why he killed one person in this movie is because the guy's back was towards him.
Oh, yeah. It was in the cave. He saved Rambo.
But his back was towards him. Yeah. So, like, that's an easy kill. Like, the kid could have killed him.
Yeah, yeah. But I love the Russian lieutenant's so pissed off that he's like dropping giant bombs within like feet. They almost looked like they used like propane tanks, and it was like landed like right next to Rambo, and somehow he jumps out of the way. It was like, oh my God.
Well, and that's when he goes, and I think Troutman goes, whoa, that was close. I mean, like again, he's like, Rambo's got to be tired of even Troutman's like one-liners. Like, really, just shut up. Like, I'm here because
Yeah.
of you, you know? But yeah, you know, it reminded me of like Caddyshack 2, of like when Dan Aykroyd's trying to kill the gopher. That's what this Russian guy basically was. It's like, he's getting tired of everything. So he's just going to drop whatever he can to kill this one guy.
Yeah. Like the whole kitchen sink. How about when he has, so Rambo is starting to like shit talk the lieutenant after he kills one of his guys. He takes the walkie. I do love when he hooks up. I love it I think he's the best when he has the bow and arrow. To me, it's like very authentic. To me, that's his character. But when he has the bow and he has a glow stick on it when it's in the dark cave, he shoots the guy, glow stick in him, the guy's lit up, and the other people think, oh, something's lit up, let me shoot it. Because the other 5 or 6 guys in the cave gun him down. He was probably dead anyway, but it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, again, this is the same group of people that allowed a kid to sneak into your fortress.
No, that is true.
So, I mean, I'm
they
not
weren't too good when it comes to that. But we finally get, I do love the way they set it up when Rambo, he shoots, he throw a grenade, and it was that really big guy because he was going to take out the big guy, and the big guy grabbed one of his like fellow soldiers and used him to block the explosion.
Yeah.
And then they have a one-on-one like right after it. And I thought that was
that's after Rambo. I mean, first of all, the ceiling of that cave was pretty high, and Rambo did a legless. Now this is after Rambo is, fighting for how long? With playing, starting with goat ball, which is exhausting as it is.
Mm-hmm. As it should
doing
be.
It should be doing a rescue mission twice with Troutman, getting rhubarb stuck in your side, putting flames through your entire stomach to one side or the other. He's now doing a legless rope climb.
And no naps. He has not slept.
No, not even nap. I mean, Troutman's already on his 5th nap already.
Yeah.
But he's literally doing a legless rope climb from the floor to the top of this cave, which is, when they show you the view, it was a high, like it was really high up. He had the energy and strength to do that. It's crazy.
Stallone was like peak. Like Arnold he was like big, but it was like Stallone like had the muscles and stuff he could do in this movie. Like that was wild, that whole scene.
You know what it is? Again, you look at him in, like, it's funny. You look at him at the progression from 1, 2, and 3, right? Like 1, he was kind of meaty. It's like Rocky 1. Like he was a little meaty.
He didn't have to train. He wasn't as jacked. Yeah.
When he comes in at Rambo 2, he's like no fat on him, and it's like probably around the same time as Rambo and Rocky 3. Like both
I think probably exactly. That'd be
right, because they look exactly the same. And then you look at this one. This is where he starts getting like jacked now. Now he's like, so he's not. He added like, so he like which Rambo is doing a lot of lifting and steroids between First Blood and this one. Like where is he getting so big? But yeah, I mean, like, so I guess you're right. I mean, the fact that he's that big, he could probably do. I can't see Arnold, John Matrix doing a legless rope climb.
No, I don't think so. But I do love that we got that big henchman battle, and it was pretty. Wow, what a way to go, dude. The fact that, like, what killed him first? Do you think it was the snapping of the neck or the grenade went off? Because it was both at the same time.
If it was Rambo, it's probably the same time. And what was good about this little fight, which I thought would be a little longer, but what was good about it is Rambo really wasn't touching this guy. Like, this guy was manhandling Rambo because he was huge. Cool. Right, and that's what it made it good. Like he had him in a bear hug, and like Rambo, like it wasn't like it was a back and forth Matrix against And no offense to our friend of the podcast, Vernon Wells, but I mean, Matrix should have torn him apart. Like that should not have been a fight. Like because Vernon Wells is a big guy, but he's not like built. This fight, Rambo really did. He was being thrown around. Like I don't think he got even one punch off. Like it was like. So either. Yeah, so it was good that he had to use his weaponry skills to kill this guy.
So good, and just the explosion, and then so after that, everybody's gone at this point.
Okay. So let me ask you this: you're the bad guy. You have the rope around your neck now, and you see he's still holding Stallone when he pulls the pin. Why did he let go of Stallone?
I don't know. Would you take him out with you? If I'm gonna
I
die,
mean-
you're dying too.
I think he thought maybe he had a chance to take off the, but at this point, he's like, listen, if I'm going to die, right, you should take. And this is where Stallone does the roundhouse kick to knock him into the hole.
Yeah.
Like, do you really think Rambo knows a roundhouse? Like, in 3 movies, he doesn't. In 2.5 movies, he didn't do one roundhouse, one kick.
But
Okay.
how about the fall in the hole? It wasn't like a perfect fall, so that was
Yeah.
pretty cool because it wasn't like it was like it was like where we jump. The guy hit the side of it, and it was like a bigger guy, so maybe that actor did his own stunts, but he like hit the side, and then like just fell into the hole.
So maybe he cracked his head open before the grenade went off.
Oh, maybe
So-
that'd be good.
So he died 3 times.
He had 3 deaths in one. Oh my god! But dude, the next scene, so they go to the border. They're like, "Let's get out of here." It's just Troutman and Rambo. And when they see the convoy of all the Russian guys, and it's like, "Please put down your weapons, and we won't do anything." And it was like, "All right, well, this is like really dumb." It was like, how many people were there? Really?
Okay.
It was like 2 of the jets. It was like 3 or 4 tanks and soldiers like everywhere. And I'm like, what?
Yes. No, 100% loaded. Now, Rambo has to be like looking at himself saying, I'm stuck now. I might have a chance, but I'm stuck with this old fart next to me who's going to be useless. But, like, again, this whole time, they're trying to kill Rambo the entire time. Why at this point are you trying to even negotiate with Rambo?
Oh, that's true. Like, what's the point? Just
because-
get rid of him. Like,
If-
really?
If you were willing to kill him before, why are you not willing to kill him now? Like
Yeah.
he mowed down your biggest guy. He killed like the whole first troops of your army easily. Why are you taking a chance like you said before? But 2, like, why even negotiate? Because he wasn't willing to negotiate before. He was trying to kill him this whole time. So like that part made absolutely no sense.
And this is all over missiles. And if we know this lieutenant as well as we've seen him for the last hour, 45, he likes to waste them a lot. Just like
Yes.
letting him go, shooting him and everything. So I don't know if that's why they need these so bad. But it just the fact that we get it, I don't even think does Rambo even utter a line? Oh yeah, no, he says, "What do you say, John?" And
Yeah.
Stallone says a line that I never thought he would say in these movies. He says, "Fuck him." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The man of
Yeah.
few words says all these different phrases, and that's like his catchphrase at the end. And dude, it was a wild start to it when they're starting to fire everything. But when you had the rebels, like, dude, the amount of extras they had in that scene, like, first of all, the goat ball scene, but this one, it was like, for as long as you could see, it was people on horses coming in with guns and weapons.
But you have about 6 or 7 tanks.
I know.
That could one shot of the tank would blow up like a quarter of those. Like you have the helicopter, your plane, whatever. You have a couple tanks. Like all they had to do is turn the turret around and start shooting, and you would lose most of the rebels. Like there's no way they should have been overpowered the way they were.
No, not at all. But you know what happened, Jamie? It's the trope of all these movies. What happens? Where's the safest place on a battlefield? A tank, right? It's a tank. Why do people ever come out of a tank? Like those 2 guys come out of the tank, they get shot. Rambo goes in and guess what happens when he's in the tank? He's literally indestructible. He's able to
doing
go
what
into
the other
everything.
ones should have done. He's literally doing what the other ones should have done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You open it. Oh, who's
Okay.
in there?
And not for nothing, he ends up playing chicken in the tank.
No, it's
Like, but why? Like, why
like
was
Footloose. The little ode to he's a big Footloose fan.
that is true. I mean, listen, if I'm Rambo, I feel confident in this win of a game
I
of chicken.
think so by just the design and
Just the design of the front of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one has a glass shield.
Yeah.
So you can play chicken with that. Like, yeah.
The dumbest part of the whole thing was why wouldn't maybe there was no rockets left. on the plane because they could have just been like, oh, chicken, I'm gonna go up and just drop it.
Right.
But
right.
the fact that just think about the speed difference, a plane versus a tank. A tank barely moves.
Right.
And this plane, they were like kind of going at the same speed. It was like
so, but I mean, but what's his like mind, like what's his thought right now that this guy, okay, this tank's coming straight at me. I'm gonna play like obviously this is what Rambo's thought is. I'm gonna play chicken. I have the more powerful machine, and I'm gonna take him down. But what's the Russians' point? Like again, you could fly over the tank and maybe get behind the tank, or like the tank can't move that fast. Like what's your plan of action of why are you playing chicken and taking that chance?
None. I think he was just angry. I really
Well,
think
he
it was
was
just
angry.
like to the point he was like, I'm gonna do whatever. Because again, could have shot him one-on-one. It could have been over in like seconds. But I love that he's yelling, "Dharma!" And then they freaking connect, dude.
If you're gonna die, you have to end with some kind of yell.
You have to
Right,
yell
if you're gonna
die,
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing like a game of chicken, it's always like when something, like a missile's aimed at you, you gotta yell at something. Like you gotta yell something to end it. So
I'm gonna put that in my will. Final words. Want to make sure that somehow they like prop me up to say.
So your final words, if a missile's coming at you, or if you're playing a game of chicken in a tank,
I'll get in a tank. I'll have a lot in my 401k, and I'll just blow it so my kids can have it. And what I'll do is I'll rent a tank and I'll rent the plane, and then we'll just go chicken.
Here lies Doug. His last words were,
"Thanks for the memories." Put it on a shirt or put it on my tombstone. That's good too. But yeah, so that's like the end of the movie, and when like from that it like fades out, and we get like Rambo, and again it was almost like it's almost like a romanticized shot that we saw from earlier when he did that spin. His hair is like it's like he got a perm in the desert.
It's shampoo. Like this whole movie is almost a shampoo commercial.
It is.
Like you start off, with the conditioner, and you go through like all dirt and everything else, and then the end, But how about Troutman's last line to Rambo? Do you know what it says?
No.
He goes, I think we're getting soft.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
You've been soft the entire movie.
Yeah, I know.
And don't put Rambo in your category. Like, don't put Rambo like with you. Like, we're getting soft. Like, Troutman's been so tough this whole movie.
I know. And they're begging Rambo to stay. It's not like they're begging Troutman to stay. I do love after he utters that line. Usually, like when there's lines in movies like that, when people are in like vehicles, they can drive away fast. But they started going, and it was so slow, and it was really awkward because we're just watching them slowly pull away. Nothing, no more words.
Yeah.
And we get the film is dedicated to the gallant people of Afghanistan. And then the song in the movie was like, "The road is long." So it was almost like a song that he would have sung in Rhinestone.
Oh my gosh.
God. Well, before this is the end of the movie, and that's Rambo 3. Maybe Troutman's too old. When I was watching the credits, I kept looking because I always wanted to see like the people that we interview, because sometimes IMDb is not perfect. And Jeff was credited like for makeup and not just like special effects but they had some wild stuff. They had like 7 accountants, 6 apprentice editors. Because dude, I don't know if he's that crazy with everyone, but he just fires everyone. Like Stephen Poster. He begged Stephen Poster to do cinematography on Rocky V after only working with him for like 2 days on Tango and Shot pickup shots. And he fired him like before Rocky V was over. Like he fired the director within like 2 weeks of Rocky V.
See, I don't like hearing that because I always want to feel like, Stallone's a good guy. And
I know.
hate that. And maybe he's different now than he was back then.
Maybe he's just
I'm
a
sure.
perfectionist. Maybe he had this thing like,
Maybe
he felt the pressure like Tom Cruise. Remember Tom Cruise in the beginning of COVID? Like, when they started filming and he was yelling at people for like talking close and stuff.
Right.
So maybe it's he cares so much about it. But if you look at the credits again, I'm going to start doing it for all of his movies. I'm going to like stick around to look because there's so many roles there. Like, oh, one person usually does it. It's like 6 people. It's like kind of weird.
Well, I think the combination of one, I definitely think he is a perfectionist. I mean, obviously, he's very bright, but I think also at the time He also
Is he? He took don't stop or my mom will shoot. He
and
took
Ryan's,
that.
and Rhinestone Cowboy. I mean, you know
Yes,
what? Listen,
yeah.
you can still be very bright and make stupid moves.
Yeah.
But I also think, at the time, he was obviously an egomaniac, right? Between him and Stallone, and then you got Van Damme coming in. So I think, that was a part of it. Also, is he thought he was better than he was, and I think he thought this movie would do better than it did. And I think it made money, just didn't make as much money as he was hoping for.
Yeah, this one had like a monster budget. I don't know. I definitely made the budget back, but it was a $66 million budget.
For
When
then.
you really think
Back then.
when you think for them and also
Right.
overseas. So
Yeah.
combine those
No,
two
I'm
things.
saying,
It's like, wow, that's a lot of money.
The budget is 66 million. If that's the budget for back then, that was high.
Oh no, that's what I mean. It's high.
Yeah.
It's high itself, but
Yeah.
like just think if that was filmed in the States, that'd probably be double the money. You don't have to pay as much. But
Right.
yeah. So I don't even know. Like, where would you rank this one? I guess my guess this is not as bad as the latest one, the Home Alone one you mentioned.
No, it's. I mean, listen, they're all entertaining in itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the last one takes it to a whole different level. I mean, like he's got a niece, that he has to rescue from a drug lord. I mean, so like, think about that. That's Rambo. I mean, the traps he sets. I mean, to me, Rambo is overseas. Like, if you're doing at home stuff, that's not Rambo anymore. It's stupid. But I would. It's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, I still love 2. I think 2 just moves. The whole movie is awesome. 1, the story, like I said, so I would go 2, 1, probably 4, and then maybe 3, 5.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's where I would go with the 2. Because 4 is good. Like it is again. What's the most amazing scene in that movie? Pretty easy, when he pulls out the bow and arrow for the first time, and he's picking out all those guys that were getting ready to make the tourists that were captured like go across the rice paddies where the explosives are everywhere.
Oh, I thought you meant the scene where he jumps on a turret gun and mows down about 175.
Oh yeah,
people.
and he rips the one guy in half. And
Yes.
like his body splits in half. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good.
Yeah, again, I mean, they're all entertaining. Absolutely. If you haven't seen this one, you have to watch them all. I mean, he's such a great character. There's certain characters in movie history that that have multiple movies that are just awesome. You got the John McClane. You got Rambo. Axel Foley. It's like you have to watch all the movies. They may not all be good, like I said before, but they're all going to be entertaining.
No, I totally agree. But yeah, so that was a good movie. Maybe we can do a little back to back. I don't know. So the next thing we're going to cover is a movie that I don't think most people knew existed. It's free on Pluto. We confirmed it before we started recording, or we were deciding what we're going to do next. And it is the trial of the Incredible Hulk. And it has all the original cast in the movie. It's a TV movie. It's a sequel. So we're going to talk about it for it. I talked with actor Mark Acheson. Mark is, again, a Canadian actor. And we joked about it, but all Canadian actors know each other, especially voice actors. So Mark knows Matt Hill. He knows Gary Chalk. He knows Michael Benyere. All of those guys, because it was such a little film community in Vancouver when he was coming up. So some of his early movies and shows filmed in Vancouver. He's in one of my favorites that are coming out of there, Wise Guy. Talk about his voice acting career. Movies like Look Who's Talking Now. Of course, we talk about him, being able to be on the set of an Incredible Hulk, and him being a fan of comic books. And Elf, the scene that changed his life. You look at his IMDb, he's always busy. He's always got something going on each year. But as soon as he was an Elf, people love that role, and it's so cool for him that they kept it in the movie, because he improvised that line a little bit with John Favreau, and they wanted to cut it, but John wanted to keep it in the movie, and it kind of changed his life. But Mark was a lot of fun. He did the interview in his old car. I think it was an old Cutlass from the 60s, but cool, awesome stories. Hot Rod, we talked about Hot Rod. Great Norm Macdonald story, really, really cool stuff. So yeah, so that's next, and then you're going to be able to watch the Trial of Incredible Hulk. It's free on Pluto. Man. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to share our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.